Hello, everybody. I'm Tom LeBlanc. I'm the editor of Commercial Integrator. Welcome to another Three Questions interview. Today, I'm joined by Stephen Kohler of Shure. Stephen is the Senior Director of Marketing, America's Business Unit. Do I have that right, Stephen?
You do, and thank you for having me today.
Thanks for being here. Are you ready to answer three questions for the CI audience?
I sure am. Let's go for it.
Awesome. So one of the things that I want to talk to you about is content. Video content is becoming so prolific, and integrators are, talking to their clients a lot about their various, content needs, video content needs, and how they can solve them. And my question to you is, where does audio fit into this mix? Are clients understanding how important the audio end and a good mic is to a lot of these content solutions? And also, do integrators understand how important the audio aspect of it is, and are they emphasizing it? Can you just kind of talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. It's one that we've talked quite a bit here at Shure. I would answer that a couple different ways. I think first and foremost, there's no hidden fact that video, and particularly conferencing, is exploding. We're seeing that as a huge growth area for our business. Our customers are continuing to look for solutions to support that. And with that, obviously, there's a lot of focus on video, as you said. And I think, to answer your question, there's a definitely a need for us as an industry to continue to reinforce the importance of audio. What we found is that integrators themselves definitely generally understand the importance of audio. But what often doesn't occur is that end users, their clients, often need to be reminded of that. We have a saying that I think a lot of the integrator audience of this webcast can relate to, which is that you can always have a conference, whether it's be a video conference, an audio conference, or a teleconference, with audio but no video, but you can't do it the other way around. And sometimes I think that gets lost in translation. There's so much excitement around video, but if you're ever sitting in a conference, as we all have been, you'll quickly realize the challenges that we've all experienced with poor audio quality on a conference call or a video call. And so what we're trying to do at Shure is to not only reinforce to integrators, but especially end clients that are setting up and trying to run corporate meetings and office calls of different kinds, whether it's within an office complex or overseas, that audio element is critical. So we're really focused at Shure on two elements. One is product design that helps support an improved audio experience. And we've done that through our new Microflex wireless microphone and our automatic mixer called the SCM820, but also education and service and support. That's a big focus for us, is to really reinforce that aspect.
Okay. Well, Stephen, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about spectrum space. I don't think that a lot of integrators in the audience have a good grasp of whether or not or how the FCC's policies when it comes to spectrum space could possibly affect what they do on the audio video side for their clients. But there are ways in which it does matter very much. So I want to get you to kind of give a quick rundown of what they ought to think about or know when it comes to spectrum space issues.
That's a great point, and thank you for bringing that up. So first and foremost, as you said, integrators should absolutely know that this will impact not only their business, but their clients' business as well. In way of background, obviously, for those not aware, over the last probably 10 to 15 years, there continues to be ongoing changes that Shure has been working very closely with the FCC on. And the analogy I like to give is kind of a metaphor, a real estate metaphor, is that we have this somewhat finite asset called spectrum, and there's a growing need for more entities, whether not just pro audio, but cellular phone and mobile technologies, to use that finite resource. It's almost like a real estate analogy, where we've got a neighborhood and everybody wants to move in that neighborhood, and there becomes a point where there's not enough space for everybody to live. It's a little bit of what the issue has been for the last 15, 20 years. So know, first and foremost, that it will impact you as an integrator and your end clients. Shure, fortunately, though, has been working very closely with the FCC to understand what those changes have been, and I'll give you a quick outline of what that looks like. First and foremost, I guess most practically, the way it would impact an integrator or your clients is the fact that essentially there are going to be changes coming very shortly in Q1 of calendar 2016 to what we reference as the 600 megahertz block of the RF spectrum. And the reason that's important is that a number of professional audio wireless microphones that our integrators obviously use from multiple manufacturers have or currently operate in that band in some cases. The long and the short of it is that in Q1 of next calendar year, there's going to be what's called a reverse auction that the FCC is going to be holding. And the output of that auction will likely have direct impact to users of professional audio microphones, in that there will be changes in terms of what parts of the spectrum not only manufacturers will need to provide equipment in, but obviously also where users will be allowed ultimately to operate those microphones in. So long and the short of it is in Q1, after this auction occurs, there will essentially be an outcome by which the broadcasters and holders of professional licenses that operate in the 600 megahertz may be in a situation where they need to move in terms of where they operate and what microphones are allowed to operate in different bands. We do not know what the outcome of this auction will be, so I can't here tell you exactly what the spectrum outcome will look like. The FCC has actually shown 11 potential scenarios of what the outcome may look like. I didn't mention it, but the way the auction works is essentially what's referred to as a reverse auction. And in this case, there will essentially be a mechanism by which the FCC will provide incentives for the operators of these different parts of the spectrum, largely broadcasters, to give up that spectrum and vacate it. And in exchange, they will be compensated voluntarily for doing so. So that's a long way of saying we don't exactly know who's going to elect to participate and take advantage of that reverse auction. So none of us know yet exactly what the result will be, but the FCC has provided us with 11 potential scenarios that we and the other professional audio manufacturers are looking at. Once that auction is completed, we and other audio manufacturers will have a much better idea of kind of what bands will be reconfigured and repacked, as it's called. We'll have a much better idea of exactly specifically what recommendations to make to integrators, but there will be impact, there will be change to wireless microphone operation in terms of what bands they operate in. But the good thing is that the FCC has been very collaborative in trying to obviously understand the needs of professional audio wireless microphone users and has provided certain expansion of licensing, which means that there will essentially be a safe home, so to speak, for wireless microphone users, partly in the 600 band, but also in other bands that they've worked with us to include outside of 600 and outside of the UHF TB band. So the good thing is that although integrators need to know that there will be changes, Shure and other professional audio manufacturers are working closely to ensure that impact is hopefully minimal in nature. I would encourage everybody to check fcc.gov as well as shure.com for further information.
Wow, there's a lot to look for there. So, Stephen, last thing I wanted to ask you about is digital audio networking, which is great in that it provides a lot of flexibility for integrators and their system designs. But integrators, AV integrators, nowadays generally have to sell, what they're going to be putting on a network to their clients as IT directors. And that's always just an important question for the AV guys to ask. What concerns might IT directors have about putting that kind of content on their corporate networks? Can you just talk about what you've seen, please?
Absolutely. So you're right on the money. That is a very common concern, and as we've all seen as an industry, there continues to be more and more convergence. Forgive me for using the cliche. And typically, the number one concern that comes up, particularly from the IT department, and it's understandable, is whether the audio network data coming off the audio system will somehow A, cause a security issue, or B, cause some kind of bog down of the network, which is very understandable. The good thing, though, is that there have been a number of advances, particularly recently over the last couple of years, with certain digital audio network protocols that make those concerns not as risky, so to speak, or not as warranted as they may have been, particularly with network protocols like Dante. Dante and other kinds of similar protocols offer wider audio bandwidth, higher channel count, and lower latency, which make the integration to the IT networks a lot smoother and do not negatively impact data on the traffic. There's also a number of benefits that come along with this capability that actually improve what many of us, whether you're in the IT department or other departments within, say, an organization care about, which is improving the employee productivity. In our case, with some of our products like Microflex Wireless and so forth, we offer battery condition and control parameters that you can remotely monitor and control, that if you're an IT director, actually help you remotely manage those assets in a way that reduces downtime when you're trying to get a meeting up and going. And that saves time, meaning the IT staff doesn't have to spend as much time troubleshooting and managing those pieces of equipment, and can really, again, improve user flow. So again, typical concern is about hurting the network, but these technologies have come a long way and really kind of made that integration a lot smoother.
Good stuff, Stephen Kohler from Shure. Thank you for taking the time to answer 3 questions for the commercial integrator audience.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, thanks, Stephen.